3 Secrets to Thriving After Losing Your Spouse. Life in this world, you never know how far the person you love can accompany you. Mizaki Howe said, "Life is like a train, and everyone can only accompany you for part of the journey. When they have to get off, you should be grateful because they have spent a wonderful time with you. If someone can accompany you throughout the journey, you should be even more grateful." Having a partner when you're young and when you're old is a blessing, but not all love can last a lifetime. Some partners leave this world early due to illness or disaster. When the spouse is gone, the house becomes empty, as if life has lost its support. However, no matter how sad or painful it is, time does not stop for anyone, and the deceased will not come back to life. When your spouse dies, you have to heal yourself while living your life well. 3 experienced individuals share their personal stories to tell middle-aged and elderly friends that if your spouse leaves first, you must refuse to do 3 things to live a decent life in your later years. Doing so will make your later years comfortable and pleasant. First refusal, immersing in excessive grief for too long. When a partner who has accompanied you for most of your life leaves early, even with the companionship of children, the emptiness in the heart is hard to fill. That space belongs uniquely to the partner, where you nostalgically linger, unwilling to leave. 67-year-old Ms. Lee said, "When I was 64, my husband passed away. Whenever I recall the time when he just left, I still find it hard to accept. During those days, I was like a walking corpse, feeling that life was meaningless. Many times I thought I might as well follow him. I often cried myself to sleep, especially at night. When I couldn't sleep for whole nights, looking at the wide double bed where now only I lay, it was inevitable to feel sad. But every time I looked at our old photos, smiling so happily, I thought maybe I should persist a little longer. My husband wouldn't want me to live like this. No matter how sad I was, tears wouldn't bring him back. So, instead of continuing to be sad, living well and letting him in another world feel at ease is what I should do." Ms. Lee finally figured it out. Indeed, the separation of life and death is the saddest thing in the world, but the deceased are gone, and the living continue. No matter how happy the past was, or how sweet the memories, you cannot always dwell in the past and neglect the present beauty and future hopes. Learning to look forward and live well in the present is not only a duty to oneself, but also a way to let the deceased spouse rest in peace. When the spouse is gone, first, stay calm, comfort yourself, take good care of your health, keep a clear mind, and not let grief overwhelm you. Slowly adjust your mindset, regain confidence, and live a self-sufficient and strong life. Cheer up, eat when you want, sleep when you can, stroll in the park, and walk around the streets. Do not rely on others. Learn to enjoy solitude with elegance and wisdom, nurturing your spiritual world in loneliness, like sipping aged wine, savoring your endless life. When lonely, you can check with friends, talk about everything, and find joy and solitude. This way, the lonely later years will still be enjoyable. Second refusal, over-relying on children for the rest of your life. When old and the spouse is gone, the closest people are your children. Many single parents think of living with a particular child, believing it is the best retirement. However, nowadays, young people prefer to live separately, not wanting to live with elderly parents. It's not just different living habits, but also different consumption views and child-rearing concepts. Some elderly, after their spouse leaves, wish their children could be with them 24/7, or at least take them in for a while, thinking this is the children's duty of filial piety. However, the elderly forget that young people also have their own families and many pressures unseen by us. If they focus on accompanying their parents, they cannot strive for their own lives. Experiences of Mrs. Howe. 65-year-old Mrs. Howe said, "After my spouse passed away, I lived with my daughter for many years, and now I live alone again. Initially, I believed that the mutual support between parents and children was natural. I raised you when you were young, and you accompany me in my old age. However, after dedicating everything to my daughter's family, What I got in return was growing disdain over time. My husband and I were both retirees. I didn't think about how to live alone, believing that we would grow old together, but a disease took my husband away, leaving me alone. My daughter had just given birth to a grandson then, and my son in law took me in, saying I should live with them and retire. I was grateful for their advice and comfort. Seeing my grandson, I considered him a reincarnation of my husband and dedicated all my time and energy to him, helping with household chores at my daughter's place. Initially, my daughter and son in law gave me some money monthly for living expenses, but later they stopped because I had my pension. As my grandson grew, my pension was not enough for the family of four. I mentioned this to my daughter many times, but she seemed impatient, occasionally giving me some money, mostly pretending to forget. The elderly talk a lot, and living together inevitably leads to disagreements. Sometimes I couldn't help but criticize my daughter for not knowing how to live frugally, shopping online every day without saving for a rainy day. And regarding my grandson's education, my daughter and son in law let him develop naturally, while I believed that children should be disciplined from an early age. Over time, there was a gap between us. They spoke to me less politely and respectfully. Reflecting on my time at my daughter's place, I chose to live alone again. When I proposed returning home, they said they would miss me, but were obviously happy and relieved. It seemed my presence was a burden. They needed my help when my grandson was young, but now they could manage on their own. Back home, initially I felt lonely and idle, not busy anymore. And life was simple, but I felt empty and lost without emotional support. After a while, I learned to enjoy solitude, rediscovered some of my interests, joined calligraphy and painting classes and community groups, making a few like-minded friends. My days are fulfilling. I realized that a life of money, leisure, and freedom is the ideal I have longed for. After my husband passed away, I finally lived the retirement life I wanted. Third refusal, rashly finding a new partner or remarrying. It's said that second marriages are often risky. While this isn't entirely true, it's not entirely wrong either, as elderly remarriages often involve habits and views formed over decades. Everyone has their own selfishness, and it's hard to truly walk the rest of the journey together sincerely. When old and the spouse is gone, one may feel lonely and fearful of the future. Finding a like-minded companion for mutual support is okay, but elderly remarriages come with risks and complications. Finding a considerate companion is challenging, and a wrong choice could bring calamity to the remaining years. Experiences of Mrs. Fong. 62-year-old Mrs. Fong said, "Having been through two marriages, my first husband died when I was 53. 3 years later, I remarried, but divorced within a year. Thinking about my second marriage still pains and angers me. I want to share my experience to remind others considering remarriage. At 50, I retired, hoping to travel with my husband after his retirement, making up for lost time. Unfortunately, he died of illness before retirement. After he passed, I was in deep grief for a long time. My son, seeing me so depressed, was worried and wanted me to live with him, but I didn't want to trouble him. They were busy enough. My son then wanted to enroll me in a senior travel group to cheer me up, but I didn't want to trouble him. So I enrolled in a dance and poetry recitation class myself. There I met my second husband, Mr. Liu. Initially, we were just acquaintances. One day, I sprained my ankle going down the stairs. Mr. Liu immediately helped me to the hospital and took care of me at home for those few days. I couldn't attend the class, but he came over daily to help. Gradually, we got closer. 2 months later, Mr. Liu proposed, saying he liked me and wanted to live together for mutual support. I was happy but didn't agree immediately, saying I'd discuss it with my son. My son didn't oppose, but suggested meeting Mr. Liu's family to see how they were. Mr. Liu agreed readily. That night, both families had dinner together. Afterward, my son advised me to observe more and not rush into marriage, but I didn't listen, thinking Mr. Liu was good enough. A few days later, we registered our marriage and I moved into his house. Initially, we got along well, though I did all the housework. I didn't mind, as I did it before. Conflicts began when three old friends invited me to travel. I agreed without hesitation, but Mr. Liu was unhappy, saying no one would do the housework if I went. I felt unfair. Was I hired to do housework? That day we argued fiercely. He said hurtful things, implying I was useless without housework. For the first time, I doubted the marriage. Returning from the trip, things got worse. Mr. Liu's son divorced, leaving a grandson with us. At first, I took care of him as my own, but he was spoiled, picky with food, throwing tantrums if displeased. After some days, I couldn't handle him. I talked to Mr. Liu, suggesting his son take the grandson. Mr. Liu opposed strongly, saying, "You're not my grandson's mother, so don't interfere. If you can't do it, stay out of it." I felt extremely wronged, finally understanding that remarriage at this age is challenging. It's hard to gain acceptance from the new partner's family. After months of enduring, I filed for divorce as I couldn't live like this anymore. Thankfully, the divorce was smooth. Reflecting now, I think living alone might be lonely, but it's better than dealing with so many problems. Conclusion: life is long. You can live it any way you want, but it passes quickly. Everyone experiences ups and downs in life, and loneliness can enrich us if we accept it and live a better life. Taking care of yourself, learning to find joy in loneliness, spending time on hobbies, meeting new friends, and accepting life's changes will make your later years vibrant. Refusing excessive grief, dependence on children, and rash remarriage will bring you a rich, fulfilling old age.